no regrets, no confusion. There'll be no pollution. I'm so thankful I've decided to change my ways.
Welcome back to the Leaving Eden podcast. How you doing today, Sadie? How's life?
Life is fantastic. I took a vacation, and now you are going to update me about the Fundies.
Am I going to update you about the Fundies? Have you been paying attention? I've been paying nominal amounts of attention.
I have maybe... So the last thing that I knew about in Fundie World was there was a picture of Jill Rodriguez and Carissa Collins together.
Yes.
And that's the last thing that I recall.
Doing a Fundie update episode, but none of this stuff is like new. This is all like from at least like a month ago.
But it's stuff that I do not have a clue about. So it's almost like a blind reaction thing. And I think that's going to be fun.
Okay, that should be fun. So yeah, we're going to talk about some Fundies reacting to the Donald Trump conviction. We're going to talk about some Fundies reacting to women playing basketball. And then there's a thing about Kanye at the end that I wanted to bring up as well. A little update.
Boy.
Yeah. He's never in the news for a good reason, but these reasons are especially bad, it seems to me, so we will get into that today.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, but before we get into that, the Leaving Eden podcast is the podcast about my BFF and co-host, cult expert, cult survivor, Sadie Carpenter, her life in and escape from the Independent Fundamental Baptist cult, the cult in which she was raised. We talk about this cult, we talk about other cults, we talk about religion, we talk about fundamentalism, we talk about the real and present threat that cults and cult ideologies pose to society as a whole. And it is our goal to promote freedom of mind, freedom of thought, and freedom of religion. So if you like our show, if you are a fan of our show, there are some things you can do to support us. You can join our Patreon at patreon.com/Leaving Eden Podcast, where you will get access to extended, uncensored, ad-free versions of most of our episodes. They also come out a couple of days early. That's a little bit of fun. So you get them on Friday night, Saturday morning, depending on your time zone, if you subscribe to the Patreon. Cool. We like the Patreon. You can also check out our merch shop at Threadless. The link to that is in the description if you want some Leaving Eden podcast merch. And also, we just would appreciate anybody who shares our show with their friends, their family, their coworkers, whoever you love, whoever you think would not love it. If you don't like them, then you can share it to them as well. Is it time to thank the patrons?
Let's thank the patrons.
So we have I Gave It All to Your patrons. Your names are Kathleen Moncrief, Melissa Mosley, Melora King, and Todd Dale on behalf of his lovely and wonderful deconstructorina of a partner, Madeline Antrim. Thank you guys so much for being I Gave It All to Your patrons. I am truly in awe that anyone is subscribed to our Patreon at that tier.
Have you put anything like really ridiculous up there recently?
I have plans to. The thing is that like the things that I'm planning on putting up there, I'm like, they're like on edge. I'm like, if I put this up there, these people might actually cancel their Patreon subscription. So
oh gosh,
there's
what
like
did I say?
There's like a fine line. No, it was like stuff that I said probably. I don't know.
Like once I say stuff for an episode, it goes out of my head completely.
Completely memory hold. Also, I think that like when it gets hotter, the temperatures get hotter and I just get dumber.
Yeah.
So like you can tell, like if you listen to a summer episode, I'm not usually totally on my game. I'm more relaxed, but in the winter, I'm like, I'm cold. I'm like agitated. Let's go. I'm like, I'm spicy. Anyway, we have Faith Promise Missions to your patrons as well. Your names are Alex P., Alicia Guild, Allie Allen, Brittany, Chrissa, Dora J., Eleanor Donahue, Hannah Ross, Hannah Montana, Henwen the Magnificent, Hope Norum, Horton Here's a Shane, Janine Collin, Jana Connor, Jen Kaharski, Jessica Tambo, Jonna, Junie B. Jones, and the B stands for Broken Hearted.
Oh no!
I'm sorry.
Junie B is broken hearted.
Junie B is broken hearted. There's like a Backstreet Boys song that's like something about being broken hearted. Oh yeah, is Is this the meaning of being lonely? That song's got Broken Heart of it, and that's what came into my head. Kat Henwood, Kay Turwee, Kristen Marie, Learned Vixen, Linda Morgan, Madeline Cusick, Maddie the Seventh Day Bad Ventist, Mary Martin, Megan Arndt, Rob the Methodist, Stephanie Johnson, Steve and Amy, Susie, Tara McNamara, Wes the Cowboy, and Zoe Shuck. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, a huge thank you, of course, to the I Gave It All tier, Faith Promise. Wow, let me try that again. Huge thank you to the I Gave It All tier and Faith Promise Missions tiers, to everybody who supports us on Patreon, no matter what amount, to people who share our shows with people around you, post about us on social media, leave us positive reviews. All of those things make a very real difference in us being able to continue to do the show. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. So we'll do the TW, and then we will get into the meat of the episode.
In general, we talk about a lot of potentially triggering topics on our show, including but not limited to suicide and mental health, racism, misogyny, PTSD and PTSD symptoms, child abuse, mental, physical, and sexual abuse, and spiritual abuse, including guilt, shame, and fear. In most episodes, we will mention at least a few of these topics, but we try to avoid any graphic detail unless it's relevant to the story that we're telling, and we do our best to give the audience a heads up before we get into that kind of detail if we do feel it's necessary for an episode.
So I want to preface this by saying that this is not a politics show, which is why you only just now hear us reacting to stuff that happened over a month ago. However, some of this stuff is kind of too on the nose for us to not talk about. So, in case you've been living under a rock for the past 2 months, about 6 weeks ago, Donald Trump, former president, was convicted on 36 felony counts of fraud. He was falsifying business records in order to cover up an illegal campaign contribution, which was related to hush money payments made to adult film star Stormy Daniels to make sure that she didn't spill the beans on the affair that they had while Donald Trump's wife was pregnant in order to influence the 2016 presidential election. It's very convoluted. We're all aware of this.
Yeah.
This is not what generally I would consider to be Christian behavior or Christ-like behavior. I don't know about you, Sadie. I was never raised Christian. Would you describe that as Christ-like behavior or Christian behavior?
Not traditionally, no.
But then sometimes I remember the wise words of Debbie Pearl, and Debbie Pearl tells us that it is our job to follow the man even if he is wrong, because the Lord will bless us in ways that we do not understand, just as long as we never contradict anything that the man says for any reason whatsoever, and it doesn't matter how wrong he is.
Yes, that is the Debbie Pearl answer.
Even when the man is being unchristian and the man is like, we shouldn't be Christian anymore. If he's your husband, you have to obey him. Anyway, there was no shortage of fundies who were either able to overlook this behavior or fundies who were weirdly comparing him to Jesus.
Yeah. So the trad wife type content was one thing, right?
Yes.
The stuff that you might hear about, I think I definitely expected all of the stuff that you might hear said about any Baptist preacher who has, quote unquote, fallen into sin or fallen in grace. If you might have heard of anybody who has fallen in grace.
I don't know. I've heard. Has anybody never named their ministry after the falling in grace?
Probably somebody. There's got to be one out there, right?
I'm sure.
No, I kind of expected that sort of excuse. So when fundamentalist or evangelical pastors, quote unquote, fall into sin, which can refer to anything from having a substance abuse disorder to having an affair with a grown adult consenting partner, or unfortunately abusing someone, The excuse that we will often hear is, well, they're just like King David. You know, King David sinned with Bathsheba, and by the way, if she hadn't been on the roof bathing, it wouldn't have happened anyway if she had been more modest. So it was really her fault. But King David chose to do a sin, and then God still used him and even referred to him as the man after God's own heart.
That's to be expected, of course, and they've been making those excuses for a while. You know, it's basically, if they like you, then, you know, you can get away with whatever you want. And if you, you know, speak their shibboleth,
right,
then you can get away with whatever you want. But if you don't, then you get condemned for, I don't know, breathing wrong.
So I was really expecting the Fundies to react to the Trump trial with that kind of stuff that we did hear a lot of, the King David analogies, and it was really her fault, or it's all a setup, or, you know, God can forgive the sin of adultery, and so on and so forth. The comparisons to Jesus were maybe a little bit, surprising is too strong of a word, but they went beyond what I expected, might be a way to put it.
Yes, so Madison Cawthorn, noted Patrick Henry College dropout, and cast off from Congress, Madison Cawthorn, he posted this tweet. He says, "Leftist, how can you vote for a convicted felon? Me, it gets even worse. I worship one. Christ is king." Posted 9:17 a.m. on June 1st, 2024 from Earth. 48,000 views. That's a good one. I love the leftist, because leftists are the only person apparently asking the question, how can you vote for a convicted felon?
Right.
And anybody who isn't us is a leftist. Anybody who isn't you're either a Christian fundamentalist or a leftist. I don't make the rules. Anyway, Sadie, I seem to have memory hold the entire New Testament of the Bible.
Yes.
So I was wondering, what was it that Jesus was convicted of? What was his crime?
That's a good question. Blasphemy, maybe?
Blasphemy?
I don't have I'm recording, like, not in my regular home studio, so I don't have a Bible on me, believe it or not. Which is really unusual. Let's Google it.
So what are like so from like a legal perspective, like what are the counts? Like what are the charges? Did they put him in front of like a jury to decide beyond a reasonable doubt whether or not he was guilty? What kind of justice system did they have?
What kind of justice system did they have is a question that I can answer in pretty general terms.
Okay.
So I Googled what was Jesus convicted of, and it does say, on the religious side, Jesus was accused of blasphemy, and of violating the Sabbath. And then on the Roman side, he was accused of inciting people to riot, forbidding people to pay their taxes, and claiming to be king. So some of those are true charges, and some of them are false charges. So if we think of blasphemy or violating the Sabbath, by the metrics of the group of people that was judging him, Jesus definitely did those things. Because he didn't directly claim to be the Son of God. He did imply it. And Donald Trump didn't sign checks to Stormy Daniels, but he did give her money. So, potato.
Yeah.
And then Jesus definitely broke the Sabbath, because he said, I'm come to fulfill the law and the prophets, so you don't have to do the Sabbath thing anymore. On the Roman side, Jesus was accused of inciting people to riot, forbidding people to pay their taxes, and claiming to be a king. And those are all not true charges, according to the canon of Scripture, which we have. And assuming that Jesus and everybody else in the story was a real person, and that the canon of Scripture that we have is accurate. But Jesus, like, particularly did not. He told people you have to pay your taxes, and did not claim to be a earthly king.
That's true. I do remember that part where he said, what was it? Render unto Caesar?
Render unto Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and unto God the things that are God's.
So he's not telling people, hey, you should do tax evasion. Also, is the penalty for tax evasion death? I don't think the penalty for...
No. Not that I'm
That's the
aware
thing.
of.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're probably asking the wrong question, because the specific wording was convicted felon, and that would require a justice system where things are separated into felonies and something else, like in the United States, felonies or misdemeanors. And I'm not real sure that Jesus was convicted of a felony.
I mean, it was clearly a crime serious enough for him to get,
Yeah, well, the reason that happened is kind of debatable, right? It's to pay for the sins of all mankind, or because he wanted to, or because he didn't want to but God wanted him to, or because the Pharisees did it, or because the Romans did it, or there's a lot.
So, question, when Jesus went into trial, was there like a presumption of innocence? Because the idea behind our justice system is that you are presumed innocent until they bring overwhelming evidence that you are guilty beyond what a reasonable person could say.
So I don't know anything about the ancient justice system in place at the time and place that the character of Jesus lived. But I would say he was not presumed innocent until proven guilty, because they beat him before, during, and after the trial.
Yeah, they definitely
That
didn't have
doesn't seem like an innocent until presumed guilty thing. Then again, I suppose if you're in some certain parts of the United States.
Anyway, I want to look at some other Fundie's reactions to this. Anna Duggar.
Oh boy.
Anna Duggar is taken to social media, who says, she knows a thing or two about the justice system. She says, who knew it took only 12 votes to prematurely deliver the win for a presidential election? # Trump has won. So it seems to me that she is operating under the presumption that Americans will be so outraged that he has been convicted of a felony for the things that he did, and it doesn't seem like he's actually going to go to jail for those things, but who knows, that they're going to be so angry about that fact that all of the people who are just like, I'm kind of on the fence right now, are going to go and vote for him because they're just like, no, he needs to.
I misread that. So when I remember reading Anna's reaction to that weeks ago, and I thought she was saying, oh, the jury handed the win to Biden because they're falsely framing Trump. That was the way that I read it.
No, I think that's
you're right.
Yeah, that she's saying, because she spends time around when was the last time you think Anna Duggar in her day-to-day life interacted with a person who votes Democrat on a regular basis?
Ooh.
Or like had a serious conversation with somebody who is not a very like her brand of evangelical IBLP Christian fundamentalist.
That is a hard guess to guess, but it certainly could have been quite a while.
Right. And you get the feeling like all of the people that she talks, like, you don't get an extra vote if you're more angry about something, sadly. But that's that was her reaction, and I don't totally understand it, because I think that unless you're like who is that person that's like, I'm kind of on the fence, but now that I saw that they sent him to jail for all of this nonsense, or now that I saw that he's been convicted of all that nonsense, I'm definitely voting for him. Who's that guy?
See,
I want to meet that guy.
I think that guy exists, because it's where that would go is if they're convicting him over such trumped up charges. Hold on a moment. Hey, Chuck, if you're going to sing, you need to go in the other room. You can go sing in the other room. Okay, I think that guy's logic is, well, if they're going to convict him on these junk trumped up charges, then that means they're trying to shut him down. The shadowy global Illuminati.
The Jews, the Illuminati, the New World Order.
George Soros.
Nikolai Carpathia.
Whoever that guy Mike Warnke was working for. All those guys, all those people are...
Steve from the campus. That
Hottest man alive, Lucian Graves. Right. All those guys are... attempting to shut down Trump. So if they're trying that hard to shut him down, then he must be standing up to the man somehow, and he must be on our side. If you are already convinced of that kind of conspiratorial thinking, it's not that much of an extra step.
Yeah, but I just feel like somebody who's that far down the rabbit hole is probably already in his bag, so to speak. I don't know. I don't know. I think somebody who's that far down the rabbit hole might say, well, I'm not going to vote for president because it's all rigged anyway and it doesn't matter. But then when they see Trump get attacked, that could influence them to think, oh, maybe this does matter and maybe he's really the good guy. Usually I am for everybody voting in the election because I think everybody's voice is important. But if you believe New World Order Illuminati conspiracies, then you're free to not vote if you don't want to. Jill Rodriguez, on the other hand, JRod, she didn't have like a full meltdown, but she posted a very long speech from Donald Trump Jr. attacking, Democrats and whatever. Hers was not as entertaining as what I thought that she was going to say, sadly. Yeah. So Paul Olagus had a much more entertaining reaction to this. Do you know who Tim Pool is? I don't know who Tim Pool is, but he seems to be like
name?
Pool.
Oh, yes.
His Twitter handle is @TimCast. I don't know. He seems to have like a lot of retweets on this picture that Tim Pool has posted on Twitter here a picture of Donald Trump in like a gold cowboy hat. And it's like an AI generated image. It's very clearly an AI generated image, but the caption is "the first outlaw president." And Paul Olagus has retweeted this image, this post from Tim Pool. I do think it's kind of funny that Paul Olagus says is kind of doing this sort of Trump idol worshiping thing, and Morgan says, his wife Morgan Olagus says that Taylor Swift is a false idol for many Christians, and that Christian Taylor Swift fans should, instead of being Swifties, should humble themselves.
What?
Yes. Yeah.
Anyway, I'm not surprised that Paul is reposting like AI Trump stuff. I'm not really surprised that Morgan is posting anti-Taylor Swift stuff. I am surprised that Morgan has not struck out on her own as a femme political influencer type person yet.
It is kind of because I can definitely see her going down that because Brittany Dawn kind of went down that rabbit hole, didn't she?
Oh yeah, I haven't checked in on Brittany Dawn in a really long time.
I remember Brittany Dawn going kind of nuts and saying that like something like dark powers, QAnon kind of conspiracy theory type stuff. And I don't know if that's exactly going to be Morgan's bag, but it seems to me more like her hating on Taylor Swift is absolutely on brand.
Yeah.
To me.
It's just for anybody who watches The Boys, I could see Morgan going the direction of firecrackers so easily.
Oh, that's an interesting take.
Well, especially now that she has had a child.
Yeah.
Still trying to coach Chuck to be quiet over here. It's tough. No, especially now that Morgan has had a child and she is expecting their second child. Am I wrong about that?
Yeah, I think so.
I think so. Unless I'm way off base and thinking of a different Fundie.
No, I think they are, yeah.
But now that she is having children, she is has even more social status among the sort of people that she is attempting to reach with her influencing. And I'm really surprised because she could just lean a tiny bit one way and they could get into political influencing. And I really think they have the right personality to make it happen. Maybe I shouldn't say this on air. Maybe I'm giving them ideas.
No, right, because they're as far as the Fundie influencers go, they're kind of normies. I hate to say it, but they're kind of like they don't. She's not in like I only wear long skirts and
right.
You have to, dress and act like if you wanted to just be like mainstream conservative kind of haters, Paul still dresses like he thinks he's about 10 years younger than he actually is, but they have that image. He acts like a youth pastor.
Yeah.
I do think it's the reason why I think it's so on brand for Morgan to hate on Taylor Swift is because Morgan at one point wanted to be a singer. And, if you're like a musician or whatever, and you never really made it big and you never really had the career success that you wanted to. One of the things that you can kind of do if you're trying to build an audience and your audience is maybe distrustful at whatever mainstream culture, whatever the mainstream thing is, then you can come off really disparaging towards somebody who is really popular. And people will say, yeah, you didn't want to go along with the system. That's why
right.
You're not famous. That's why you're not a household name. That's why you're not successful.
Right. And Taylor Swift is getting a lot of heat from the Fundies right now in general.
What's she done lately? Anything? Or is it just that she has big concerts that people like to go to? Other than just be in her mid-30s and childless?
I'm not sure. Okay, baby. I'm not sure what drew the current ire. I think anybody who has a stage show at all right now is taking heat over any color red that may or may not appear in their stage show. Ever since Sam Smith and Lil Nas X both had red in their stage shows in a pretty tight period of time, it's been because then even Rihanna wearing a red jumpsuit at the Super Bowl a couple years ago was a big deal. And it's literally a color.
Are we not allowed to wear red anymore? Is that the...
I mean, I wasn't allowed to wear red growing up other than Christmas time.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't not allowed. I was discouraged. I was heavily discouraged from wearing red.
Why? Was it too...
Because it's a harlot's color.
I thought it was because they're like, oh, well, you're a spring color set.
Oh, no, because it's a harlot's color.
Red is a harlot's color.
Yeah.
Good to know. Okay.
You have to ask Heather about that. It wasn't like a hard and fast rule, but I definitely would not have worn... Like, you could wear a red blouse with a black skirt, maybe. Or you could wear an outfit that was mostly black and white with red accents. Having a little bit of red in your outfit wasn't an issue. But myself and most of the people that I knew wouldn't have worn a red dress. Okay, I don't know. Taylor Swift is how we got on this, but would you like a Fundie update from me?
Yes.
This might surprise you. I'm wearing an ankle-length skirt today.
Hell yeah, let's go.
So I went to the Goodwill bins. This is just bonus Sadie happiness. I went to the Goodwill bins yesterday, and I found this incredible 90s skirt. It's like that 90s like polyester crinkly kind of stuff. And it is ankle length, and it has a slit up to my right above my knee on both sides. And it's a
so it's not Fundie modest.
It's not, but if I were a Fundie, I could make it Fundie modest by just sewing one of the slits completely down and then one of them down to like 6 inches. But it's a really pretty, it's a black skirt with little silver vines and flowers on it. And it is, I am really happy with it.
Well, that's
but
fun.
This is the first time I've worn an ankle length skirt in literal years, except for one semi-formal wedding that I attended.
The world is healing itself. That's what's going on.
The world is healing. I feel really great today. Actually, I'm enjoying the swish.
Yeah.
You kept saying ankle length.
If it's hot out.
You kept on. It is so hot here. You kept on saying ankle length skirts,
And I thought that our audience would appreciate my update as well.
Hell yeah. Freedom is about doing what you want and
Yeah.
not just doing what other people don't want you to do. I do also think that it's worth pointing out that Paul Olagus collects Pokemon cards, which promote idolatry and evolution.
Paul collects Pokemon cards?
Yeah, so if you go to Paul's Instagram account, then you will see that he has a whole like highlights section where it's actually Paul Olagus has an Instagram like highlight section of like cards that he has collected. Like he collects sports cards, he collects like Pokemon cards, trading cards, various things. Let me find the
But
one.
not Magic
so
the Gathering, right?
Yeah, so he has
Surely
one.
that's
Let's
too
see. I
wicked.
found this one. He found a Charizard, which is like a rainbow Charizard. So I think it's like a. Oh, it's a rainbow Charizard, which I think is the gay agenda.
Yeah.
But he says Charizard V-Star Rainbow Rare. Picked this up today. One of the nicest Charizard cards I've ever seen. Gotta be top 3 for me. So he's spending money on. You know what? Everybody deserves a hobby. But you know what I did think was funny is that he says, dude, here's another one where he has a Kyrie Irving Brooklyn Nets card, which I think if you know things about basketball, Brooklyn Nets Kyrie is not the Kyrie you want. You want Cleveland Kyrie or you want Dallas Kyrie. But he says, the caption is, dude, my awesome wife got this for me. Kyrie game-worn jersey patch. 12 inches. Kyrie was one of the few NBA players to take a stand for medical freedom. Muscle arm emoji.
Oh, it's about vaccines. Okay.
If he and KD win the chip this year, spoiler alert, they didn't. His cards are going up. Well, Paul, they did not win the championship, and both of them requested trades to different teams, and now the Brooklyn Nets are in the like doldrums of rebuilding hell, which is a shame for Brooklyn Nets fans because they deserve nice things and they can't have them.
Except for Paul. Okay, do you want to take up the offering? I think it's probably about time we can go to the next Fundie thing.
Yeah, the next funny thing that we're talking about, I think, is JRod going to Vegas.
Okay.
Do you want to talk about that? Okay,
Yeah.
cool. All right. Let's go take up the offering. Then we'll come back and talk about JRod going to Vegas and women's basketball.
Hey, Sadie here. If this is your first time listening to the Leaving Eden podcast, make sure you go back and check out episode 57. It's a primer episode for new listeners. That episode tells my personal story and gives you all the terms and information that you'll need to know going forward. Also, check out our cult true crime series, The First Family of Fundamentalism, so that you can get the whole cult story. If you like our show, you can support us by joining our Patreon, where we have extended and uncensored episodes as well as other bonus content available. You can also join in the discussion in our Facebook group. That group is called Eden Exodus. Tell a friend, tell a family member, tell your worst enemy. The Leaving Eden podcast is a fully independent podcast, and we really appreciate your support. Now, back to the show.
We are back from our break, and I guess this segment we're going to talk about JRod going to Vegas and women playing basketball. Last month, the MLM product Plexus had a sales and marketing and networking convention in Las Vegas, Nevada. Our favorite multi-level marketing selling Christian femininity influencer, Jill Rodriguez, a.k.a. Jilpum, a.k.a. JRod, has attended the convention in the City of Sin, and from social media, it appears that she had a marvelous time. On social media, Jill wrote that Las Vegas was, and I quote, "not a city I intended to go to, but I love exploring." So, Sadie, as our longtime listeners know, you're a fan of Las Vegas.
I am.
You're a fan of Las Vegas. Would you like to give our listeners some insight into maybe the IFB messaging around the City of Sin and your thoughts on JRod visiting there?
Oh, the IFB messaging. Yeah, I can do that. Hold on.
So if I say we're still IFB, I'm going to say, I have a work convention in Las Vegas, and you're pretending to be my pastor. I'm asking you permission if I can go to a work convention in Las Vegas.
Oh, okay. If I were your fundamentalist pastor and you asked me if you could go to a work convention in Las Vegas, I would say you can go if you really need to for work. If it's optional, you should not. But if it's not optional, it's not worth losing your job over. Here's what you're going to do.
Okay.
You're gonna fly into Las Vegas, and can you take your wife on this trip? Is that a possibility?
I think I could. I think that I can expense that.
Okay, perfect.
As well.
Well, then you're fine. You can totally go to Las Vegas. You just take your wife with you, and then whenever you see showgirls, you close your eyes, and she will hold your hand and walk you to a more appropriate location for you. You also, there's a few more, you also you can walk through a casino if you need to go through a casino to get where you're going, but you can't stop walking to look at the games or a dancer or somebody who won money or whatever, because you also can't look at alcohol. So you're going to have very, very limited eye lines in Las Vegas because look not on the wine when it is red, when it giveth its color in the cup, when it moveth itself aright. So you're not going to look at any alcohol. You're not going to look at gambling. And then if you are in a place where you can't not look at immodestly dressed women, then you need to close your eyes and have your wife guide you through it. If your wife isn't able to come, if she can't, I was going to say if she can't get off work, but we're fundamental Baptists, so she doesn't work.
If she can't come, if she can't get off, then...
If there's any
maybe
reason,
she should go to Las Vegas.
Yeah. Well, if there's any reason that she is not able to attend this trip with you, I'll bring you up on church discipline for that. But if there's any reason she's not able to attend this trip, you can go, but you are going to need to have room service for every meal. You're going to need to stay in your room with the TV off as much as possible when you are not actively doing convention activities.
Wow. Okay, that's very interesting. And
my parents visited Vegas because my dad had a preacher friend who pastored right outside of Vegas, and because he was 10 minutes from the actual Las Vegas Strip, he would buy you hotel rooms on the Strip because it was so much cheaper. He had points and ways to get really inexpensive rooms. So my parents visited Vegas multiple times, actually, when I was a child.
What were their thoughts?
My dad had a joke that he really liked. He said that he put money in he went to Vegas, and one time he had a moment of weakness, and he put some money in a machine, and he actually got something back. So he figured if that happened to him one time, he should probably quit gambling forever, because he was never going to win like that again.
You know what? That's kind of smart.
Well, then he would say it was a Pepsi machine.
I'm not a gambler either. I've been to Vegas a couple times. The thing where it's you can't stop in a casino. Well, if you've ever been to the Harry Reid International Airport, the airport is a casino.
Yeah.
The airport, you get out of if you're waiting for your plane, if you're at your terminal, you can sit in the chair, or you can sit down to the slot machine and pull that lever and just, piss your money away if you really want to.
So number one, don't do that. There are federal regulations on the machines in the casinos, and most people don't know this. But as a Vegas nerd, let me tell you, there are federal and state regulations on the machines in the casinos. Those machines have to output 97, 98, 99% of the money that is input into the machine. So if $10,000 is put into the machine over the course of one day, depending on how the machine is set and what the regulations are for that particular building and that size of casino, this, that, and the other, that machine would need to output $9,700, $9,800, or $9,900 per day. So the house always wins, but the house only wins so much statistically on straight up pull the lever machines. So Don't play the machines in the airport because only the machines in the casino are regulated like that. The ones in the airport are completely unregulated.
Interesting.
And
So
do
you're
not have
literally
to put out
just
a certain amount of money. It's not that you could never win in the airport. It's just your odds are much, much better on a casino floor.
Yeah, I'm like not a slot machine kind of guy. I don't know. I'm not a gambling kind of guy either. I just know
I never played slots until like the last time I was in Vegas. And the last time I was there, I I put a 20 into a machine and pulled a couple times and spent out $270. And then I was done. I didn't gamble anymore that trip because I figured that was it.
If I got money back, I would say, you know what? Job well done. Like, I mean, I think the only time I've ever actually gambled on anything is when I went to the Kentucky Derby.
That's different.
Yeah,
Same,
and like
but
that's
different.
like, and I like specifically was like, okay, here's $100 that I have, and I'm going to gamble with this $100, and if I lose it all, then I'm gonna, and I won the first bet that I made, and then I'm just like, okay, you know what? I'm cool, like not really betting anymore. And then, with the money that I won from that bet, I just bought like mint juleps for myself and my girlfriend, and I got us like some snacks.
See, that's how you do it. And that's typically how I do Vegas. I take a certain predetermined amount of money, and that is all that I can spend, and I lock my credit cards, all of my cards, in the room safe or in a hotel safe. So if I am half a mile down the strip and I run out of my spending money for that day, I would have to walk half a mile back to the hotel to even get to my card to then go find a machine. There's plenty of opportunities for me to tell myself, no, you're done for the day.
That's smart. Just give yourself you're giving yourself like a hard limit.
Yeah. It's just,
especially
whatever I brought $150 for today. And if I play carefully and I win, if I go sit at a roulette wheel for quite a while and make $5 bets and win a good number of them, then I can get myself up to $250.
Yeah.
And then I can, have my entertainment money for the day. But if I lose it, if I put it all on black and I lose it, I'm going to have a very boring day in Las Vegas.
So what do you think JRod's in? Like, JRod seems like she had a good time in Las Vegas. Like she was not
did.
expecting to go there, but she did, and she enjoyed herself. And you know what? I think that is a reminder to us to always keep an open mind.
Yes.
Have you ever visited somewhere that you thought was not going to be a very nice place, and then you went there and you thought, actually, this is lovely?
I'm not sure.
Because I can think of how many times do you ever hear people say, I want to go to North Dakota? But I've been to North Dakota, and at least the western half of the state was very beautiful.
I've been to North Dakota. It was nice. It was pretty.
It was like it was like -9. It was very cold, but
I was in North
was,
Dakota in June.
There was like a bison by the side of the road. You don't get to see bison every day.
I love them. Big cows. I love cows. So I love bison. Well, anyway, Jill had a big month, I guess, because she took pictures with Carissa Collins in Vegas and was in Vegas with some of her children, at least Kaylee, but maybe more.
Did she bring any of the boys or not?
I don't remember. I really don't. I know she brought Kaylee because Kaylee is seems to be wearing a head covering now, which is interesting development.
It can be a cute fashion. I see people wearing a head covering. It can be a cute fashion. I think it's in right now. I've seen some TikToks about that, and I've just seen some people out on the subway. I'm like, that's a good outfit. You got a little like scarf over your head. It matches your dress. You look good.
Yeah, I've seen people wearing silk scarves quite a bit.
Also, there may be a little bit of like, oh, this is what Orthodox Jewish women wear. Maybe we should do this too. That I'm like, maybe there's that to it, but I don't think that's it.
No, that's not it from JRod. From Jill, it's do this, so we should do it too.
Yeah, from I'm going to bleep the word that you said there, but from Carissa Collins,
Yes.
It would definitely be Orthodox Jewish women.
From Carissa, yeah.
Yeah,
But
because
it's Jill's daughter Kaylee that is actually wearing the head covering now.
I don't know. I think that she wouldn't have trusted any of the boys to come with her on that trip, or at least if she had, she would just be saying Nike, 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 Nike,
Right.
Nike, Nike, Nike the whole time. Whatever. Anyway, I want to talk about women's basketball.
Oh boy. Okay.
Speaking of this, so for those that aren't aware, the WNBA is kind of having a moment right now. Love to see it. Women's basketball is a good sport that we like. That we watch. Do you watch? You don't watch basketball.
I
You
don't watch
like
basketball at all.
I watch basketball. I watch women's basketball. I watch men's basketball. I have a league pass for both of them. This past spring, Iowa graduate Caitlin Clark was drafted with the #1 overall pick to the Indiana Fever. If you have been living under a rock, Caitlin Clark is like she broke a bunch of records when she was in college for scoring. She has gone on over the past couple months of her first rookie WNBA season to have quite a very good rookie season so far. She's scoring a lot of points. She's doing a lot of assists. But the first couple games when she got into the league, you're playing against grown women rather than, college, college students. And she had maybe a rough go of it for the first couple weeks of the season, which, is about to be expected. Rookies always have some difficulty about it. But it kind of turned into a firestorm online where people were saying, oh, the league is being mean to Caitlin Clark because they don't want to see a white woman be successful at basketball or something. And it's anti, and it's wokeism is why people are the players are being mean to Caitlin Clark. And then there was the counteract to that, which was, if you like Caitlin Clark, you are clearly racist, and you only hate and you only like basketball when white people play it. And then just nobody's been able to be normal about this except for basically the players. Sean Foyt, if you're familiar with Sean Foyt, is he a musician? He's a commentator. He's a pastor. Sean Foyt on Caitlin Clark. I want to read this tweet that he said. He said, literally no one cared about the WNBA until Caitlin Clark made it watchable, exciting, and fun. Only economic idiots and bigots would defend the racism she is dealing with simply because she is white, straight, and Christian. The WNBA better fix this before all the viewers bail.
Okay.
Yes. I should also point out that Caitlin Clark is right now not the best player in the WNBA. She's good, but she's not the best player in women's basketball right now. Like, Asia Wilson's better, Sabrina's better, Stewie's better. Like, there's other players in the league who are better than her at this point in time.
And wow, Sean Foyt, that was not who I expected.
What would you expected Sean Foyt's take to have been?
I don't, like, I know he comments on everything, but I haven't thought about him in so long that it didn't occur to me that he would have thoughts on women's basketball.
Well, this isn't the first time that he's had thoughts on women's basketball. I want to go back and read to you a tweet from him. Do you remember when Brittany Griner got...
Of course.
Got taken prisoner in Russia for having like a vape pen or something?
Yep.
And this was his tweet in response to that. When entitled America-hating WNBA players are treated with a higher priority than U.S. Marines who have given their lives for this country, this country is in a sad state.
I wonder what evidence he had for her being America-hating.
I don't know. She probably said something about Black Lives Matter. That's like the...
Oh, boy.
Yeah, that's. I mean, she's a 6'9" black woman who is also a lesbian. So I just, they can just say America hating, and whichever one, take your pick.
That just, Labeling her as America hating for some reason just kind of triggered me today.
I know, it's just so you can just throw out America hating.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what you say. If you say, "Oh, you hate America," then it's just like, "What? No, I don't hate America." Well, you said you criticized America, and oh my God, shut up. Anyway, let's go take up the offering break, and then we'll come back, and there's some Kanye West updates that are deeply disturbing that we're going to talk about.
Okay.
We are back from our break. So, about a week ago, Kanye West, I saw a news article from TMZ where Kanye West has been sued by employees. This is a weird development. So I don't know if you knew about this, but Kanye West has decided that he wants to start a pornography studio. Did you hear about this?
I did hear some echoes about this, yes.
That he wanted to... So Kanye wanted to start a pornography studio called Yeezy Porn. I don't know. I know a few people that have in the past done like online sex work. From speaking to them, I don't know, like I just don't feel like it would have been a good idea to get involved with somebody like Kanye West.
Yes.
If I were somebody in that industry.
Yeah, the only worst person in the industry I can think to align yourself with might be Buck Angel.
I don't know who that is. Who's that?
He's a transphobe.
Oh.
He's like the most famous trans man porn star ever. But he is also like teaming with J.K. Rowling and being a transphobe to other trans people. It's really
weird.
Unfortunate.
That is strange. There's like some self-hatred going on there. Clearly,
Yeah.
That is a bizarre turn of events.
Like, that is like the only other person I can think of other than Kanye that would be the worst person to get involved with in the industry.
And the other thing about Kanye is that because I've heard and seen interviews with him in the past, or seen interviews with other people speaking about him, and I don't want to get like too explicit here, but I am aware of the fact that Kanye West is apparently a pornography connoisseur, and I get kind of the impression that his motivations for starting a pornography studio are because the thing that he specifically wants to see is not something that he is easily able to find. And I don't
want the answer. I don't want the answer to what that thing is. But I would like to know what you cannot find on the internet.
It's not that like he can't find it, but he probably wants like he seems like the kind of person who will be very interested in extremely specific custom content.
Yeah, but why doesn't he just buy it like everybody else who's extremely interested in very particular custom content?
Because he's a creative genius and he needs to be the one making it.
Right, okay.
How
is that going? How is this studio going for him?
Apparently not well, because he has been sued. So Kanye West created an app to promote his rap music, fostering, I'm reading from this TMZ article, fostering an environment with brutal working conditions, while his wife, Bianca Sensory, sent pornography videos to staff, which were accessible by minors, according to a new lawsuit. The bombshell suit filed in a U.S. court named Ye and his former chief of staff, I didn't know this, Milo Yiannopoulos, as defense. You remember Milo?
I sure do.
I remember Milo. The suit alleges that Kanye and company engaged in forced labor, cruel and inhuman and or degrading treatment. Weirdly, and this is a letter that came out May 1st, 2024. This is a letter from Milo Yiannopoulos resigning from the Yeezy brand because of Kanye's, Well, Milo says, I cannot be complicit in production or dissemination of pornographic films and literature for moral and religious reasons, but have also because such material and the kind of people inevitably involved in its production represent an imminent danger to my life as a recovering addict and an unacceptable risk to any spiritual and physical health as a former homosexual.
Oh, I didn't know he's was ex-gay now.
Yeah, he's ex-gay now.
I feel like I maybe knew that he was working with Kanye. Maybe that sounds familiar. I did not know that he was ex-gay now. Would you like to put any money on when his ex-gay grift turns into an ex-gay grift? Because that's surely the next place he's going to go. That's the only continued path of grifting.
Well, see, here he says, I tender my resignation. I will deliver orderly handover by Friday, May 31st, 2024, or the first pornography shoot. So apparently they've started shooting, and the first shooting was sometime, I guess, May, June of this year, whichever is sooner. If at some time in the future the company publicly and prematurely abandons any plan to produce, distribute, or profit from obscene content, it would be an honor to serve you again. So Milo apparently retired from Kanye's brand because he didn't want to be involved with making pornography, which is weird that that's where he draws the line, because he's a dude who he's an ex-gay neo-Nazi guy.
Right. And also the company has been profiting. Really, if you want to put it that way, the company has been profiting on explicit content with every outfit that Kanye has reportedly, allegedly, possibly forced his wife to wear in public in Italy for a year and a half? 2 years?
Yeah, it's been a while.
All of that has been profit for the company. So this is really doesn't seem to be that different. Now, is Kanye reportedly coercing his wife to appear in this content?
I don't know. None of it's been released yet. And I'm not planning on watching any of it when it does get released.
Oh, what a surprise.
Yeah, pornography produced by Kanye West is not something that I'm particularly personally interested in. Whatever floats your boat, no shame, but not for me. I also think it's kind of funny that this is that Milo is mad about this because he got his big break during Gamergate, right? That was him, right?
Oh, maybe.
That was, yeah, because they were mad about the game industry the video game industry becoming too feminist and too woke. And now the thing that all of those people who were doing that back then are on is that they're mad that female characters in video games are look different than they want them to look.
Are not so fan servicey in most cases.
Yes. That's a good way of putting it. Fan servicey.
That is really something.
Yeah, so and apparently they in the development of this app called Yeezy Vision, which was supposedly an app that was going to a streaming app where you could stream Kanye's music and also you could stream the pornography that he produced. It seems like a strange concept for an app. But apparently Kanye and Milo, according to this article, hired an international developer group conspired of several black members, which also included underage teens as young as 14. So they're hiring 14-year-olds to help on this app. And this app is also being used for pornography distribution. And Bianca is sending out pornographic videos to the people who are making this app, which I'm pretty sure is a crime. Is that a crime, or is that just a civil?
That's which thing? Sending explicit videos to people you work with, or sending explicit videos to people who are minors? Because I think one of those is a crime.
Both. Yeah, so sending them to minors, that seems like
that seems like a crime. I think sending them to people you work with is harassment. Would probably get you fired.
Yes.
I don't know.
I only make your company be liable for a.
Each of us only have one coworker, and I don't think I'm going to commit that crime.
I was not planning on sending you pornographic videos.
I was not planning on sending you any pornographic videos either.
Thank you. I'm glad that we have established that boundary in our friendship.
It's much appreciated, yeah.
Didn't think that would come up, but you never know.
I mean, you know how our group chat with Dinah is.
Yeah, but that's not like... That's just like...
No, it's just like 12-year-old boy humor. A lot of the time.
I don't know. Apparently, they all deny that this is what's going on, everybody who works there. But I just thought that would be an interesting update. Do you have any thoughts on this as far as like...
Well, I wonder what it's potentially cult-like about this. So she is allegedly sending these videos in like a group chat scenario, right? Or to individuals.
I think that's what's going, or that she's uploading them to... the impression that I got from reading this was that there's maybe like a work Discord,
okay,
and she's like putting porn videos on the work Discord, and there's kids on the work Discord.
Right. I wonder, like, what I would see as far as cult-like behavior there is, well, are there adults in the room who would like to tell her to cut it out? There's kids here, and feel like they can't because of the hierarchy of who she is and who she's married to within the company.
That seems like that's kind of the thing.
Yeah.
Also, I think that it's weird that there are 14-year-olds working for Kanye.
I agree.
I know that the entertainment industry is like weird like that, in that they say, yeah, we can have child stars, you can be producing and releasing music as a minor if you want to, or you can be, you know, acting and starring in like in films, you know, you can be in the entertainment industry like working as a minor, but there is like very clear rules as to, you know, what you are and aren't allowed to do. And if you're on set, there has to be like somebody there who is like a teacher or a tutor for you or whatever.
Yeah. Well, there's a reason that you need small children to act in films. Mm-hmm. Because the story of the movie might require that there is a child in the movie. I don't see any reason why a 14-year-old needs to be the app developer for Kanye when I'm sure there are many talented 18, 19, 20, 30, 40, 50-year-old app developers.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that Kanye is just one of those people that feels like he needs to have world beaters and prodigies on whatever he's doing.
Yeah.
And so if you're like, oh, this person is the next Mark Zuckerberg, or this person is the next Steve Jobs, then you feel kind of cool if you're like, oh, well, I discovered the next Steve Jobs when he was only 14 years old. Then that can be kind of like an ego thing as well, where Kanye might just see a 14-year-old do coding on a YouTube video or something.
Right.
And then he might just be like, oh, I saw this 14-year-old on YouTube that can code. I'm going to get him to do it because he's clearly the best. Like,
It all just screams culty and cult leader in so many different ways. And it honestly kind of surprises me that Kanye fell off the Jesus stuff, because I thought that was where he was going to really start his own cult.
Really?
I really thought for a minute there it was going to go that he was going to say he was the second coming or something.
I mean, he already did, though. He made a song like 10 years ago called I Am a God.
Right, but like, you know, get more serious about it, start recruiting people. He had
like
uniforms
JRod
already.
Leto, yeah. I mean, he had the school that he started, that got shut down, that kind of... Actually, a kid who went to his school and then transferred out because it was a show just got drafted into the NBA. Who was it?
So his school finally sort of worked for its intended purpose.
Hold on, which Rob Dillingham. Rob Dillingham was the 8th overall pick in the NBA draft a couple weeks ago. He got drafted by the Minnesota Timberwolves. He went to Donda Academy very briefly. He left Donda Academy to go to... Did he go to Overtime Elite? He went to... I think he might have gone to like one of these youth basketball leagues because like they can't draft people right out of high school. So if you... So either you can go to college for 1 year and then get drafted into the NBA, or you can go to like one of these like semi-professional basketball leagues, or like these youth basketball leagues that like their point is that they're supposed to develop talent that does get drafted into the NBA later.
It's really interesting. And while you were talking about this kid with the basketball thing, I was thinking back to Bianca and like, what is her role in this? And like, I don't know. I don't know her. She has not spoken out. There are some friends and family of hers that have their opinions. But I will tell you something I noticed that seems similar to a type of person that I've seen before. Does that make sense? Not saying that, oh, this is absolutely what she's doing, but saying that this looks like a pattern to me.
Yeah.
I was thinking of the wives of big name pastors in the cult, who have a lot of power over women and women's issues. People don't have power over men. They don't have a lot of agency or autonomy, but by being the wife of one of the big guys, you have more power than all the other women do, at least. You're at the top of the food chain for your little part of the food chain. And when you talked about her sending clips to the chat and not having accountability for that, it did echo the way that the power of those big name pastors' wives felt to me. And I wonder if that's the position that she's in, or if she sees herself as the neck that turns the head, if she sees herself as some kind of accessory to the big guy with secondary power to him.
Yeah, and there is some people that just like proximity to power.
Yeah.
That like... They don't want to wield it themselves, but they like knowing that it protects them.
Right. And there are so many ways to speculate about what could potentially be going on with her. We get new information, we get differing opinions, and we do not know. There is no way to know what is going on with her, because she could absolutely be a victim of a coercive control relationship and be fairly innocent in all of this and be a victim. Or she could be somebody who has very much put herself in this position on purpose. We don't know, and I try not to pass blame or judgment on her because that is such a murky area. But I do always find it really interesting when I see patterns of her behavior that echo, that rhyme with things that I've seen before.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Like, I don't know if she's a person who is in on it, and clearly if she's sending videos to the work Slack, then she's at some level enthusiastic about, or acting enthusiastically towards Kanye's whatever it is that he's trying to do now. I just do think it's weird that he went straight from being like, I love Jesus, to I'm going to make pornography. Not saying that you can't make pornography if you're a Christian, because I know that there's plenty of people that are Christian that also are in the sex industry.
Transvangelical. Shout out to Transvangelical. That is her username on Twitter. Apparently she does strip theology over on her OnlyFans.
Wow. So there is... I never knew to ask for that. I never knew that existed, but if I was looking for it, now that I know that exists, that's where
I wanted to shout her out, because I'm sure there is somebody on our podcast who absolutely wants to see that. So I hope that my free advertisement is reaching the right person, because there's got to be somebody who desperately needs that in their life.
Is she popular?
I don't know. Like, I've only really interacted with, she spoke at a conference that I attended virtually, and so did her partner, who's also a sex worker. But I have not met either of them in person, and I've only interacted with them on Twitter.
You know what? I do think that there is definitely a market for that, because there are so many people that go from like, oh, I was raised in this puritanical patriarchy, in this, purity culture, to getting out of that to just being like, I want all the sex content.
Yeah.
And also, how do I deconstruct?
Yeah.
That's a very real pipeline.
So,
man.
So bottom line is, please support my friends and my internet acquaintances who have OnlyFans. Please do not support Kanye West's porn studio.
I also like pray for any adult video performers who get involved with Kanye West's porn studio, because just like knowing from what I know about that guy and his boundaries or lack thereof, and his inability to take no for an answer when his ideas maybe don't fall on friendly ears, stay safe out there.
Yeah.
I know that the industry can be kind of a seedy place, but for real, protect yourself.
Now that we've given advice to everybody in the sex industry, do we have anything else to talk about Kanye West?
No.
Okay.
Except for that Jana Duggar might be engaged.
Jana Duggar might be engaged. I don't know. And
if that's real, we have to do a special episode on that.
We will.
But
I think it's not. I think it's not. What do you think?
I think that if it were, they would be shouting it from the rafters.
Yeah. Also,
because she's the oldest, and she'd be like,
Nuri is going to have her baby probably before this episode comes out.
Oh, well,
and
congratulations to her.
She's having, Nuri Rodriguez Keller is having a girl. Her sons are not Nathaniel. What is the first one's name?
Started with an A,
nope,
right?
They're all N's, because she's Nuri and her husband is Nathan. And her first son had an unusual biblical name, Nehemiah. So the first son is Nehemiah. The second son is Newman. Newman, like when you're...
Hello, Newman.
Right. But when you're saved, you're reborn and you're a new man, which was the point of that. And so now we need to predict what the daughter's name is going to be. I've seen a lot of people pitching Noelle, but I really think she will...
That's a nice name.
It is a nice name. I think she'll save it in case she ever has a girl around Christmas. I think she'll put that one on the back burner. I could definitely see her going with Naomi.
Nadine's a good one.
Yeah.
Natalia.
If we hop over to a different Keller relation, Priscilla Keller Waller, married to David Waller, right? That's his name?
I think so, yeah.
I haven't thought about these people in a really long time, which is why we're doing an update episode. Yeah, it's David Waller, Priscilla Keller. She's the oldest Keller sibling, I think, or close to the oldest. She...
Sister-in-law to Josh Duggar.
Correct. Anna's older sister, who is also Nathan Keller's older sister, who's married to Nuri Rodriguez. JRod's daughter. Anyway, Priscilla, in their family, they did, I think all the boys are P's, like Priscilla, and all the girls are D, like David. And they finally did have a DeVita, but it was not one of their first children. So if we look at that...
DeVito, like DeVito, like Danny DeVito, but with an A?
With an A, yeah, that's the female version of David.
Wait, oh, the female. My mind went to Danny DeVito, like they named their kid after Danny DeVito, just like how Paul Olagus named his kid after a basketball player. He named his kid after Luka Doncic, the best white basketball player.
So, listen, I'm trying to make a point here.
Yeah,
It's too hot in your apartment and your brain is melting.
No, it's literally 86 degrees in this room right now. It's fine. My AC's broke. It's getting fixed on Thursday.
You can make it.
Going over. Yeah.
So Nuri could eventually name a girl Natalie or Natalia after her husband, Nathan. But based on the fact that it didn't happen in the Priscilla David Waller family until much later, it was like their 7th or 8th kid that was named the feminine version of her dad's name. I would think that Nuri may follow that same pattern. So I think she's saving Noelle and Natalie or Natalia for future pregnancies and will go, I think, most likely with Naomi. And she will probably have her baby before this episode comes out. So I hope people are enjoying my prediction.
And if this comes true, then I don't know. Is there like a FanDuel parlay on that?
Probably not.
Can we advertise for gambling? Yeah. Man, I think that's about it for this episode today. I don't think there's anything else for us to talk about.
This has been fun and refreshing for the most part.
The next episode we've got is an actual research episode. Sadie, do you want to talk to us about what that next episode's going to be?
Yeah, so I don't remember how I came across this now because it has been quite a few months that this has just lived as an open tab on my phone. But I came across this religion called Swedenborgianism, and it's really fun to say. And evidently it's got some commonalities with Mormonism because it's a religion that's built off of the foundation of Christianity, but with additional texts. And because it's the Old and New Testament and the writings of Emanuel Swedenborg, an 18th century theologian and scientist. This theology is based on the belief that God used Swedenborg as a vessel through which to spread his teachings to people on earth. So I just thought, I know absolutely nothing about this religion. I found the top level description extremely interesting. I really think this religion got advertised to me on Instagram. I know that sounds nuts, but I'm really pretty sure this was an Instagram targeted ad religion.
I've gotten Instagram targeted ads for religions before, but usually it's like the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
I get those.
I get those
I
ones.
get a lot of non-denominational churches in my area.
I get Chabad Lubavitch.
Oh, yeah, you probably do. I don't get those. I do get...
I mean, of course, you don't, but like I get them because their whole thing is they're just like, we find people who are already Jewish and get them to be more Jewish.
Right. See, I don't...
They're
but
not interested in you.
Instagram does think I'm Jewish, though, because it sends me advertisements for, like, Jewish wedding supplies a lot. And it sends me, like... Rosh Hashanah kit will send you apples and honey and this game you can play with your kids to teach them about the meaning of the holiday. Like, I get stuff like that. So Meta does think I am either Jewish or Carissa Collins. But it also thinks I'm interested in non-denominational churches and fringe religions and witchy stuff, Reiki healing. Instagram really struggles to understand me.
I mean, I think that they do understand you well because those are all things that you're just like, that's weird, I want to read about it, but they're not things that you like want to do.
Yeah.
I did just have a thought, which is that if Jana Duggar does get married, then that means that Jill Rodriguez is probably going to live stream the whole thing on Instagram.
That sounds entertaining. I'm looking forward to Timmy's wedding.
Which, I mean, it means that we can watch the whole thing without having to give money to Jim Bob for like a TV special. So,
yeah.
Mad Family Inc., money laundering. How long until those charges drop? I don't know. Get on it, Department of Justice, DOJ, FBI, NSA, IRS, what have you. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. You can follow the podcast on social medias at Leaving Eden Podcast. You can follow me at GAVRIELHACOHEN. Sadie?
You can follow me on Instagram at Sadie Carpenter Music, also on Threads and on TikTok at Sadie Carpenter 1.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. You guys have a great day. Bye-bye.
But old rolling river of time, you've healed me in too many days. No regrets, no confusion, there'll be no pollution. I'm so thankful I've decided to change my ways. I'm so thankful I decided